So another thing too I was going to bring up was that kind of rolls into a lot of what we were just talking about too was checking your ego. Like we all have an ego. It's hard to defeat an ego. It's hard to take control.
Especially
of
the
an
one
ego.
that like it's a planet.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I don't know if it's
Like
just a male thing.
Planet ego.
Oh, Planet Ego from the Guardians of the
It was
Galaxy.
hard to defeat.
Yeah,
Anyways, go
it's
ahead.
tough. But what I'm trying to say is when it comes to ego, and I don't know if it's a male machismo thing or if it's just everybody in the world. And I have a feeling it's everybody. It's not just specifically male.
We already said we checked that shit.
We what?
We already said this characteristic.
Yeah, right.
We're all vain.
Right. True.
And we're all selfish.
Yeah.
And we're all greedy. So if that goes into the ego, everybody has it.
If you could locate when you're doing your self awareness, if you could locate your ego, if you could find out what decision making or what decisions that you've been making are pride and ego, and replace them with trying to be a little bit more humble. Just try it, just to see if you get a different result at the end. I remember I was working at companies and I was like, I was a helper. Just a helper trying to do my thing, learning the business, or even with my own family, like I did it too. And my ego would be so big and my pride would be so big. I would be super emotional. I'd led headstrong. I would be an asshole basically because I didn't understand that it was my ego talking. It was my chip on my shoulder talking. And sometimes chips on the shoulder are not the worst thing ever to have because it helps you stay motivated. But sometimes they can bite you in the ass because overall it's your ego talking more than humbleness talking. So if you try to transition it, and that's another thing with faith too, with God, if you try to transition that ego to humble and just be thankful for the fact that you're even in the position you're in, you might see a different result than how somebody else perceives you or how somebody else reacts to you. Think about that.
Yeah. Ego. I think it all, like you said, it all ties.
It's
in.
not ego's not all negative.
No, it's not bad.
Yeah.
It just depends on how you use it. But I think humbling yourself is a good thing, a great thing actually. Humility is like a amazing thing. It's just it makes you more of a you just people can understand you better and they just attracted to you more when you have humility.
Yeah.
Like I'll give you an example. Like perfect example is like Floyd Mayweather, right? You don't really see him as a humble person, so people they're not attracted to him the same way that they would be attracted to, like, I would say, The Rock, right? The Rock is more famous than Floyd Mayweather.
For sure, yeah.
But he's more attractive, not look-wise, I'm saying, but like he's more like you can go to him because he's humble.
Yeah.
And that's just humility, I think, is a great thing. He's probably got a huge ego. He calls himself The Rock. Like he talks in third person.
Yeah.
When that's his character, even for you to get into that character, you gotta have a big ass ego to think that you could just go on stage
and just be like, I'm The Rock.
The Rock says whatever,
yeah.
and then everybody's gonna laugh. And so I'm pretty sure he has an ego, but he's real humble. So, like you said, you could balance both. You could have an ego, you could be humble.
Yeah. But you have to recognize it.
But you gotta recognize it. But that goes back to the the beginning. The first thing we talked about was being self-aware and understanding that. And then moving forward from there. So yeah, the ego thing is
it's a big deal.
It's a big deal, and then being humble is part of that whole.
And a lot of people completely forget the humble portion of it, and they just live their life the way that they're living it, and keep running into the same brick wall every single time, not realizing that if they just came at it a little bit more with a humble nature, they probably surpass that wall. They probably get right past it.
I think it'll make life easier. I always say life is easy, people make it hard. So I think it's.
Hard head makes soft ass.
Hard head makes soft ass. That's like
that's
like a country saying. Hard head makes soft ass.
As soon as I get out of a meeting and I'm in trouble, you be like, hard head makes soft ass.
Hard head makes soft ass, but it's like a country saying. So yeah, so I think ego is one thing, like, and being humble is definitely something you need to work towards.
Yeah.
Or understanding of it. This problem is understanding of it. I think a lot of people say the words, but
exactly
you haven't really dug into what it means.
What it really means, and
you got to do that for yourself.
And a lot of this stuff with the whole like, it's my truth, like what ego means to me, what my thing. No,
that's already ego.
Yeah, you're already starting it off with ego.
You own the truth.
Yeah. And don't think that I'm not self-aware or aware enough to know that some of this with the podcast, you guys would probably think it was just ego. It's not. If you recognize the fact that the reason why we started this podcast was to make sure we tell not only our story, but share some of our personalities and also help people. We're taking the ego out and putting the humble in. So it's realistic.
Yeah, being able to share. Yeah.
But I see how that could be. You see how the balance can be confused.
Like you said, it's a balancing act.
Yeah.
It's a balancing act of it's like with all the characteristics that we have, what we said in the beginning. it's a balancing act to be able to catch yourself. Like, damn, I'm being real greedy, but you know, I'm selfish too. Like, you gotta understand all your
On your
characteristics.
personality. You have to
Yeah.
be smart enough to realize your own personality characteristics and traits, and just and be honest about it. That's the thing. Be honest with yourself.